Chapter 49. The One Who Remained. The ash still hung in the air. Decima hadn't moved from the altar. The others had returned to the hollow, leaving her alone in the clearing with its scorched grass and cracked stone, the scent of smoke lingering like breath from an open mouth. The words still glowed faintly in the soil. Choose, but her body felt too heavy to move. Not from fear, from memory. She hadn't lived the visions she saw inside the flame, but they lived in her now. She looked toward the tree line where the forest thickened. The light was wrong there, dimmer than it should be. Like the sun refused to touch whatever slept beyond. Something watched her from it. Or waited. She followed the silver-veined roots into the dark. The ground beneath her feet was soft, but not like moss. Like layers of old skin, burnt and buried. Her boots made no sound. The trees here leaned inward, not blown by wind, but pulled by something beneath. The pull in her chest, the shard, wasn't glowing. But it was thrumming, and then the earth shifted. Not like before, no crack, no quake. A soft exhale, and then the ground beneath her opened. She didn't fall. She descended, lowered gently through the roots. They didn't grab her, but they held her just enough, like being carried by something ancient that remembered how to be careful. The hollow wanted her to see. Below, the chamber wasn't stone. It wasn't soil. It was root and memory, hardened into place. Silver veins ran along the walls like lightning frozen mid-flash. The light here didn't come from above. It came from within the roots themselves. And in the center stood a figure. Still, rooted, alive in a way that didn't need movement. He wasn't shackled. He was the roots. Bark had formed over his ribs like armor. Moss clung to his shoulders. His hands were still shaped like hands, but his fingers grew into the floor like vines. His eyes were shut, but he was listening. She stepped closer, and his eyes opened. They weren't glowing, not like hers, but they were lit from within, gold and ash, as if the fire in him had long since cooled, but never died. He looked at her like he had always known her name. "You touched her," he said. His voice sounded like the inside of a tree. Dry, low, full of rings and age. Decima's throat felt tight. Was she a Nera? A pause. She was what the flame became when it was still willing to love. And I was what stayed behind to carry that memory. She moved closer, heart pounding. The closer she got, the more still everything became. Even the shard inside her fell quiet. Even her thoughts. "You were soul-bound to her," she said. It wasn't a question. His eyes flickered with a memory. I was the bond she broke, to seal what she feared would live forever. Decima swallowed. And now? Now it's waking. And the hollow doesn't want to forget again. The chamber pulsed once, a low shift in the roots, like a deep breath being taken somewhere beneath their feet. "You were not sent here to stop it," Maelgwyn said. "You were sent here to remember how." She didn't understand. "Remember how to what?" He turned his head, bark creaking at his jawline. "How to choose. How to carry what cannot be destroyed. How to survive it without letting it become you." She took another step forward. The roots didn't shift, but they seemed to lean slightly toward her. "Am I becoming her?" she asked. "No, you are what comes after her." The words echoed in her chest more than in her ears. Maelgwyn looked at her differently then. Not gently, not cruelly. With weight. "You are not the fire. You are the vessel the hollow remembers to hold the fire safely. If you let it shape you without knowing what it burned before, you'll only repeat what she died to end." A pause stretched between them. Then he raised one hand, slow, bark cracking, and pointed a single finger toward her chest. The shard inside her flared once, and in her mind a voice not his and not hers whispered, "You are not cursed. You are the one it chose to remember." Her knees nearly gave out. She closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the roots had begun to pull back. The chamber was fading. But Maelgwyn remained. Still, watching, waiting for her to understand. She whispered, "Thank you." He didn't nod. He didn't move. But the hollow opened behind her and the path returned. She walked back through the forest. And the word in the soil had changed. Not choose. Now it read, "Begin,